Well, several weeks ago, we started with goal number 1 of the 7 goals. And so this week, I want to talk about goal 7, the last of the goals. All the things that we've talked about up to this point really are not possible without proper resources. So goal 7 is around generating and stewarding our financial resources. Now, to kind of simplify the resources for a university, think about it as kind of 5 buckets of money or 5 sources of money, if you will. We have money from tuition. That's our largest source of money. Money from the state. That's our second largest. Money from research, from funded research. We also have money from what we call auxiliary services. That's dining and housing that I talked about earlier with goal number 2. And the last one is philanthropy. And even as a public institution, we rely more and more on the support of our alumni and friends and the business community, foundations, that type of thing. So let me very quickly talk about those 5 buckets, and I'm going to take them out of order of which I just gave them to you, but in order of some of the things that are important. So let's talk about auxiliaries, which is, again, the things like housing and dining and so forth. That really is not a revenue generator for the university. That's, you think about it as kind of dollar in, dollar out. You know, a student pays for a dining card, well, that money is used for dining. They pay for a dorm room, that money is used for that housing. So that's dollar in, dollar out. Research is very similar, but we get these research grants, and those research grants enable us to go hire graduate students, postdocs, faculty, and that type of thing. So it does help build it up, but we depend upon those dollars, and they come in very directed, so we can only use it for those research projects. The state has been very good to us, and we appreciate all the support of the state. But now that we're an R1 institution, we need to reset and rethink kind of how the state approaches us, because we are now in a very different environment than we were just a few years ago. And we'll continue to work with the state on them seeing the value of investing in an R1 institution. Philanthropy, again, as I just mentioned, is one that we will increasingly depend upon the support of those, again, even as a public institution, to help us do the things that we need to do. Scholarships, and when I talked about research, we talked about endowed chairs, those type of things. We depend upon outside support for those items. The last one is tuition. And this university has done a phenomenal job of really holding our tuition flat for the last 5 years. And I'm very proud of our institution for doing so. But that has also left us in a position where, as we've seen over the last few years with inflation, we have not been able to keep up with the rising cost of energy, of food, of our employees. So we're going to be looking at how do we maximize our tuition dollars? How do we continue to be accessible to students, but also be financially viable as an institution going forward? Those are our 5 buckets. We're going to continue to work on these so we maximize the opportunity to be the very best we can be. But at the end of the day, we have to have the funding to accomplish the other 6 goals that we've talked about over the past several weeks. Thanks for joining me for this series of our 7 goals. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.